Hello and welcome to another Inside the Studio. My name's Pete.
And I'm Dan.
And we are from Steadfast Collective. We are a digital product studio here in Southampton, and Inside the Studio is a chance for us to lift the lid on what it's really like to run a studio. What are we talking about today, Dan?
So today we're going to be talking about why you might not need an app.
Good question. So one of the things we do for our clients is we build them apps, we put it on the App Store, and we ask them for money. So why are we saying you don't need an app?
It sounds a bit silly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the reason, there's three main reasons, really. And the first one is because you just might not need it. So apps take a lot of time, a lot of work, and to be honest, most businesses don't need an app.
So we're talking here about particularly a mobile app on the Android or iOS App Store, aren't we? That's what we're talking
exactly
about.
That. Like a native application on your phone, So a lot of businesses will have like a website and they'll be like, oh, we really want to get into the app space just to get our name in there. But honestly, a website is often more than enough.
Yeah.
And unless you're delivering something specifically within the app that's like targeted for the applications, like you're delivering like some new functionality or something that you can't do on your website that's better on a phone. There's no real reason to try and put that focus into there.
Yeah. So a good example would be, we have a client, we work with Brian and the Golden Suite team. We are very soon releasing a mobile app with them. And Ryan has spent years building up a community with his website and his web app that we developed for him. And the mobile app is going to be an extension of that. And the reason there's so many more benefits for that is things like native push notifications. It's all about kind of real-time trading, and there's a bunch of features. But he kind of took his time. He started with the web app first, built the community, didn't just launch straight into the mobile app.
Exactly that. So there's like the portability of the app, I think is a big selling point where you can just pull it out and get going on all the social features. But I think the biggest thing and the biggest reason that it's so great on a sort of a mobile application is the push notifications. Because as soon as he pushes out a trade or something like that, people can get it instantly and they can just go straight away. You don't have to have your laptop open or anything like that. You just know and it's just there. That feels like a really good selling point for why you should focus on such like building a native application.
So if we were to have a client come to us and they say, look, we really want to start this new business. We think we want a website that does kind of everything we need to do and then an app to go with it. You know, it might be that they can hold off on the app, check the idea works first on the website. Unless the app is vital, for instance, you need your camera or it's to do with GPS, it's probably just not needed quite yet.
Yeah, so there's like a few areas that I can think of, like AR, virtual reality sort of stuff on your phone, anything where like the camera's needed, anything where you're like sending push notifications and that's like vital to the business where like that time sensitivity is really important. What else on there is like really important? Maybe like quick access through like just using your thumbprint or Face ID to like get in to log in really quickly or something.
But for most businesses, most use cases, especially those just starting out, a website, a web app with that functionality is more than enough to get going.
Yeah, like your shop, for example, doesn't need to be an app.
No, correct,
Like you can get most of the way there. In fact, you can get probably better results from a website than focusing any time on an app. And e-commerce, I feel, should always be web-based rather than trying to push for a mobile application.
Unless you're ASOS, don't bother.
Exactly. But they've really specifically like honed that for their business. And that's that is their business, if that makes sense. It's not like they're tacking on an app to their business.
So point one is you probably don't need it. Point two is you're going to save money because an app is expensive to build. Not just that is, if you're selling anything digital, so you're not selling a t-shirt, you're selling a subscription, you're selling anything digital through the app, Apple are going to take, it's now 15%, they've just changed it, but 15%. That's a chunk of money out of your monthly recurring revenue or whatever you're selling through the app.
It is, it's a lot of money and it just vanishes as well. Like you don't even ever see that. And it was 30% before, which was even crazier.
Changed this week, late last week.
Literally, And that's just money that you're just losing. It's like someone's literally taxing you 15% of all of your profits.
It's Apple tax.
Yeah, exactly that. And like that's a big like inhibitor to like any costs there. And then on top of that, it just costs a lot to build. Like they take a lot of time to build, and to do them right and to do them well.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot of resources and a lot of time and development.
And it's not a case of just build once and it's done forever. Apple will every year make changes, and nearly every year you'll need some minor or semi-major tweaks to your app to keep it in the App Store.
Exactly that. Yeah.
And you know, if you're managing a website, a web app over here, and you've got your mobile app, you know, that's you know, you're duplicating a lot of functionality there. There's a lot more going on. So you might just not need to spend the money at that point.
Yeah,
it might just not be worth it. And especially with the Apple tax included, it might just be not financially viable.
Exactly that, yeah. So what's our third and final point, Pete?
Third and final point is people won't find it. Like people think that you'll release an app and people will just find it and you'll be a success.
Yeah.
I was telling you a story earlier today about how I got one of the iPhone 3Gs on launch day, and that was the day the App Store was announced on the iPhone.
Yeah.
And at that point there were hundreds, not millions of apps on the App Store. And you could kind of go through them, download them and play with them. And when a new one was announced, you kind of knew about it because every day 10 or 100 apps would kind of be released and you would look at them. And now it's, you know, there's probably tens of apps being released every second. Like just having an app isn't going to build your credibility, build your brand, give you a platform, because you're competing with millions of other apps out there.
Yeah.
And you need to have the brand first before you can jump in and just think that releasing an app on the App Store
will do
is
it.
do it.
Yeah, I'd like probably sort of relate it really closely to like Google now. Like you don't just release your website and suddenly it's just the top result on Google.
Exactly.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like there's just way too many people fighting for it.
So 7 years ago, me and some friends, we launched an app, and this was when the App Store was still fairly young. We released an app. We were featured on the App Store, on iTunes, on App Store under the new and noteworthy section. You know, we were actually, you know, pit there, kind of front and place.
Yeah.
Still didn't make any traction. You know, you need the traction to come from your brand and your community, rather than just thinking that releasing an app is going to be enough.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like there's a lot of work that needs to be done. You need to be pushing traffic to your app as well. Like there's a lot of money you need to spend to actually get traction there, and you need to be getting reviews on your app, and people need to be installing it and using it. That's the only way Apple's ever going to pick it up and feature it as well nowadays. And it's just not viable unless you're really specifically trying to win in the app world.
Yep. Or it's an internal tool and you only care if 10 people download it because they're the ones using it as a point of sale app kind of application, or you know, you're sending it out with surveyors to go to different places and do internal things. That makes more sense. But I think at this point in time, you know, we really tell our clients to be cautious about thinking that releasing an app is going to be a great idea straight away.
Yeah, I think there's usually a better solution. Like a lot of the times a website will get like 95% of the way there. Even with like something like an app where you can like collect details or something out in the field, a website would still do that. And it would be a lot cheaper to do.
Yeah. There's definitely lots of reasons why you should build an app, but we're not going to go into those on these videos.
That's another conversation, I think.
So we hope you enjoyed this. We would love your thoughts on why an app is or isn't a good idea, especially if it relates to your business. We'd love to hear about that. You can subscribe to these videos at YouTube. You can watch them at steadfastcollective.com/videos, or where you get your podcasts.
Yeah, exactly that.
We'll see you next week.
See you then.
Cheers.